is CTV News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Lauren Stallone. A Windsor law firm has been hired by the grieving family of a 15-month-old child killed in a multi-vehicle collision earlier this week in Essex County. Anyone with information is asked to come forward. The collision happened last week, at the intersection of Highway 3 and County Road 31. The family's lawyer says 15-month-old Hudson Martiniano and his mother were in an SUV that was struck from behind, pushing the vehicle into the intersection. Both were taken to hospital with serious injuries, but the toddler did not survive. The family's lawyer says the investigation is still in its early stages, and they're asking anyone with information to contact them. CUPE says a number of ambulances in Windsor, Essex were parked Thursday because there weren't enough paramedics to staff them. The head of the union representing local paramedics says taking ambulances off the road isn't a new problem, but yesterday was worse than usual. The president says when fewer ambulances are available to respond to 911 calls, it can increase wait times for emergencies. He says Essex Windsor EMS needs about 50 more paramedics just to maintain the current level of service.
We have an increasing population. We have an aging population. We know that we need to expand our service, if anything. But as far as just to give our current paramedics the proper time off, the proper rest and recovery time, we don't have enough to backfill.
About 320 Essex Windsor EMS paramedics voted 100% in favor of strike action in mid-February. Key concerns include recruitment, retention, wages, and burnout. The union will meet with the Ontario Labour Relations Board in mid-April to discuss what strike action could look like under their Essential Services Agreement. The County of Essex has previously said it remains committed to reaching a fair and responsible agreement. Windsor police are asking for the public's help in identifying a suspect after windows at a West End home were smashed last week. Residents of a home in the 1200 block on Tilson Drive heard their windows shattering shortly after 12 a.m. on March 5th. Surveillance video shows a male suspect throwing stones at the residents before fleeing the area. At the time of the incident, the suspect was wearing a white hoodie, light blue jeans, and black shoes. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. Meanwhile, Windsor police have arrested one suspect and seized more than $338,000 worth of drugs and cash in a targeted investigation. Officers with the Drugs and Guns Enforcement Unit arrested a 48-year-old man in Amherstburg on March 11th. Police then searched his vehicle and a home on Concession Road 6 South. Investigators say they seized more than 3 kilograms of cocaine, hundreds of oxycodone, tablets, and nearly $29,000 in cash and several prohibited weapons. The man now faces multiple drug and weapons charges. A Windsor man will now face a sentencing hearing after being convicted Friday of illegal weapon offenses. CTV's Michelle Molesky has the details.
A Windsor judge has convicted 30-year-old Daniel Garreau of 4 illegal weapon offenses. This was a very strong, if not overwhelming, case for the Crown. Justice Mikolaj Bazilko concluded Friday. The offenses happened at 333 Glengarry Avenue, also known as Wheelton Manor, in May of 2024. Surveillance video captured Garreau bring a sawed-off shotgun with the serial number scratched off into a unit on the 6th floor. He was also observed delivering an illegal rifle to a different unit also on the same floor. Garreau left both units empty-handed. He was arrested by Windsor police at the bottom of the stairwell. The judge said it would, quote, defy logic to think the seized weapons were different than the ones seen in Garreau's hands. According to the criminal code, possession applies, whether they are in a place that belongs to or is occupied by the accused. 3 charges related to a seized airsoft pistol were withdrawn during a 3-day trial because authorities determined it was not powerful enough to be considered illegal in Canada. Garreau will remain in custody and will face a sentencing hearing in April. Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
Conservative leader Pierre was in Windsor this morning before he ventures into the U.S. to push for free trade in the auto sector. But CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver questions, is this visit too little, too late?
Pierre Poilievre kicked off his tour today, promising to fight for a tariff-free auto sector.
We need to regain access to the United States market with a plan that will be good for Canada and realistic on the other side of the river.
Between tariffs, CUSMA negotiations, and the war in Iran, polls show the Canada-U.S. relationship is more important to voters than ever before. And experts say the opposition leader seems to be trying to show Canadians he's listening.
Since just before and after the election, he's been trying to change the subject largely, try to get Canadians to focus on other issues that are maybe more domestic in nature. And I think this is an attempt to insert himself into the story in a way he hasn't.
And that, some say, is good for Poilievre's personal brand and for Canada as it works to reverse Trump's protectionist trade policies.
I think it's good for Pierre Poilievre personally. I think it's good for the country to have people who speak in a slightly different language about world affairs and their ideological predisposition to be in the United States talking about the Canada-U.S. relationship.
Poilievre is skipping Washington.
I'll leave the negotiating up to our government.
Choosing instead to hold meetings with business and political leaders in 3 major states, Texas, New York, and Michigan.
He's obviously looking at the polls. He knows how he compares in public opinion to Mark Carney, and he's trying to counter that.
Poilievre's visit comes as he tries to regain some of the momentum he had going into the last election before the U.S. president started talking about the annexation of Canada. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
More evidence tonight of Canada's continued and unofficial boycott of the United States. CTV's Chris Campbell reports on a new cross-border survey.
A new poll from Nanos Research suggests the United States may be falling off the radar for some Canadians, with 43% saying they're less likely to travel across the border this year.
We've stopped traveling stateside as soon as everything happened, as far as with the new administration and so on.
For many Windsor residents, crossing the river to Detroit has long been routine, but some say they're now choosing to stay on the Canadian side.
It's the 51st state comment, and I don't like how the country is being run.
Just all the uncertainty in the world in general.
Others say uncertainty is also keeping them closer to home.
But I really have no desire to go over to the state.
Until things change across the river here, it's, as far as the leadership and the comments, and we don't feel welcome.
Not everyone is staying away. Some Windsor residents still cross the border regularly, especially for work.
I love the States. I think it's great.
Network engineer Jeremy Dorian would like to go to Kalahari with the kids for March break, but notes the price to play is not fun to pay.
It's not going to stop me from going to the States just because of our dollar, but hopefully they can get along more.
Officials at the tunnel say while cross-border travel overall has declined for more than a year, the tunnel itself has seen relatively stable traffic.
Overall, for the 13th month in a row, there are less Canadians going to visit the United States. But here at the tunnel, we've actually maintained really close to our pre-January 2025 numbers. I think we know what that's alluding to.
CEO Tal Chudner says commuters and sports fans continue to use the crossing regularly, even as discretionary travel drops. Meanwhile, tourism officials who have long considered Windsor a two-nation destination say the trend is being seen across the country.
Canadians have a great sense of pride, and they're staying close to home, and they're realizing that what they want to do is support Canadians.
Gordon Orr says while spontaneous trips across the border may be declining, the region's cross-border ties remain strong. Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Flu activity in Windsor, Essex is easing, but the respiratory season isn't over yet. The Windsor Essex County Health Unit says recent data shows fewer overall flu cases in the region. Medical officials say influenza A activity is virtually non-existent right now, but influenza B cases are beginning to rise. They say flu B is typically less severe, but residents, especially those at higher risk, are still encouraged to get vaccinated. And RSV activity is being closely monitored while COVID-19 levels in Windsor, Essex remains very low. Meantime, the City of Windsor's bid to purchase Windsor Stadium has been rejected. City officials say they submitted an offer earlier this year after their Greater Essex County District School Board declared the property surplus and listed it for sale. The city says he supported buying the site to expand Jackson Park and explore future housing opportunities. It wishes the successful buyer well with their plans for the property. No word yet on who bought the property or their plans for it. A community staple in Kingsville is closing their doors permanently. Cindy's has announced it will shut down March 29th after more than 3 decades in the community. In a social media post, the company says rising costs, changing consumer spending, and ongoing economic uncertainty made it impossible to continue. The store first opened in 1989 and says it's proud to have made it through the pandemic. A clearance sale on merchandise and seasonal decor is now underway. As we are currently experiencing some very strong winds, CTV's meteorologist Gary Archibald will tell us in 2 minutes' time how much longer these winds will be sticking around. It's Oscar weekend still ahead. We head to the red carpet for a preview of Sunday's big show. Gary is here now with a detailed look at your weather. Gary?
Lauren, good evening. Good evening, folks. We're still in the midst of this big storm. The winds have been strong, as high as 94 kilometers per hour recorded at the airport during the 1 o'clock hour this afternoon. We saw rain, snow mix, even some ice pellets at around 8, 9, 10 a.m. It's been cold and obviously windy, which meant the combination of those two things made it feel even colder than the ambient temperature. Although we've reached a high close to 11 degrees, it was above seasonal, but it was really about the wind and this wintry mess. Mess is a good word to describe it. By the way, dynamically speaking, from a meteorological point of view, it's textbook area of low pressure, counterclockwise circulation, right? Make out the spin. And of course, heavy amounts of snow, even some rain and showers moving through the lower Great Lakes Basin. What we're still in for is the wraparound effects on its reverse side. There's potential of seeing some more flurries through the overnight and still very strong gusty winds at least until about 4 or 5 a.m. The next system then moves in. Leading edge is cold enough. Probably seeing some light flurries. Rain behind it mixed in with some freezing rain, ice pellets is a possibility. That for Sunday morning, beginning at around 3 or 4 a.m. The heaviest snow bands are in upper Michigan, moving into the midwestern tier of southern Ontario. Bruce Peninsula certainly getting hammered in the last 24 hours, above 24 centimeters. Being recorded. And then, of course, the rainfall tallies. We aren't seeing a lot. Game ground is saturated for the most part throughout our neck of the woods, but any additional rains is always a cause for concern. There will be some more rain coming in the next several days, but we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Overnight temperature close to -1, feeling like about -7, -6. Still windy though, but not as windy as we approach 4 or 5 a.m. By midday, the winds are calm. We'll start with a mixture of sun and cloud. In fact, mostly sunny through the morning, noon hour, early afternoon, and a bit more cloud, but still fair in the late afternoon, seeing a high of about 3 degrees Celsius. Our average high for this time of year is closer to about +4, +5 between Windsor, Essex, Chatham, Kent, and the surrounding locales. Take a look at our 7-day forecast. Highs and lows anticipated. They are all over the map, so to speak. And some more flurries. That mix can always be dangerous if there's some freezing rain, and those components coming together late at night when it's colder, and of course pre-dawn early in the morning. We could see that early Sunday in particular, and a couple of centimeters before it all melts later that day in the afternoon. Still warm but unsettled Monday, above the freezing mark Tuesday, but the nights and early mornings sub-zero, and then more flurries and then warming up. These temperatures really somewhat lacking balance That's because the atmosphere, is rather unstable at this time of the year. That's a look at your weather.
Thanks, Gary. There's no sign of de-escalation in the Middle East, now 2 weeks into the conflict. The death toll is mounting, and there are knock-on economic impacts around the world. With the latest, here's Heather Wright.
What appears to be a projectile streaks across the sky near Incirlik Air Base in southern Turkey. NATO confirming a missile from Iran bound for Turkey was intercepted today, the third such interception since the war began.
It sounds crazy because, normally Iran is a semi-ally to Turkey. So that was surprising to see. But, war is crazy.
Turkish authorities have not said what the target was, but U.S. and NATO troops are stationed at Incirlik. In Istanbul, the mood is calm, but there is worry the war could spread.
They are trying to involve other countries too, and so maybe there will be something, but I'm hoping it won't be anything bad.
Today, the United States confirmed a refueling plane, similar to the one seen here, crashed in western Iraq, killing all 6 crew members. U.S. Central Command says the crash was not caused by hostile or friendly fire and is under investigation. In Tehran, smoke can be seen rising as thousands gathered to mark Al-Quds Day, one of many rallies across the country. People are not afraid of these attacks, the head of the judiciary said, vowing Iran won't back down. While Iran has been battered by U.S. and Israeli bombardment, it continues to strike its neighbors, with thick black smoke seen rising from Dubai's financial district today. In northern Israel, Iran's proxy Hezbollah fired hundreds of rockets overnight, injuring dozens, including a number of children. Israel continues to hit Beirut and its suburbs, with the death toll in Lebanon at nearly 700, according to the health ministry. Today, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres visited Lebanon and called for an immediate ceasefire.
Lebanon was dragged into a war that is not a war that these people would be willing to have.
The exact death toll of this conflict is still not clear, but government officials and UN agencies believe as many as 2,000 people have been killed and millions displaced, the majority in Iran and Lebanon. Heather Wright, CTV News, Istanbul.
Meanwhile, there are still questions about the health and whereabouts of Iran's new supreme leader. U.S. officials say he's been wounded, but President Donald Trump says the regime has been totally destroyed. Joy Malbin reports.
With casualties mounting, recognizing the cost of this war, a somber moment for the 6 U.S. service members killed in that refueling crash in western Iraq.
Please keep these brave airmen, their families, friends, and units in your thoughts.
From the U.S. Secretary of War, more bravado, suggesting Iran's new supreme leader, who's not been seen since the first airstrikes, is desperate and in hiding.
They've gone underground, cowering. That's what rats do. We know the new so-called not-so-supreme leader is wounded and likely disfigured.
And with oil tankers on fire, Pete Hegseth dismissed fears about oil disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz, effectively blocked by Iran.
As the world is seeing, they are exercising sheer desperation in the Straits of Hormuz. Something we're dealing with, we have been dealing with it, and don't need to worry about it.
Americans are worried about it, feeling the impact of soaring gas and now food prices. It's short-term pain, says the U.S. president, in exchange for a nuclear-free Iran, telling Fox News Radio.
We are decimating them. We've knocked out most of their missiles. We've knocked out many of their drones. We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
And with shifting timelines and declarations of victory already, the president gave another benchmark when he'll know the war is over.
When it's over, this is going to bounce right back so fast.
When are you going to know when it's over?
When I feel it in my bones.
The president insists on unconditional surrender from Iran in a war that has taken thousands of lives already and cost the U.S. more than $11 billion in just the first 6 days. Joy Malbin, CTV News, Washington.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down today by losses in the base metals sector. In Toronto, the TSX dropped 299 points, and in New York, the Dow fell 119, and the NASDAQ lost 206. The Canadian dollar is down half a cent today, and on commodity markets, gold lost $64 an ounce, and oil gained almost $3 a barrel. Questions are being raised about the practice of paid plasma donations in Canada after 2 people in Winnipeg died following collections. CTV's Alex Carpa has more.
22-year-old Rodiat Alabede was a Nigerian student studying in Winnipeg. A GoFundMe page identifies her as one of 2 people who died after donating plasma at 2 collection centers in the city. Now, donating plasma for money could be banned in Manitoba.
All options will remain on the table. Our top priority is the safety and well-being of Manitobans.
Health Canada said it received reports that 2 people died after donating plasma at 2 Grifols centers in Winnipeg. The Spanish-owned company specializes in producing plasma medicines and told CTV News each donor undergoes extensive evaluations before being deemed eligible.
These are really disturbing, tragic events.
The Manitoba Health Coalition says the province must hold an inquest into both deaths and is calling for a provincial ban into paid plasma donations.
We support ending this predatory practice and rebuilding and expanding the voluntary system that is much safer and equitable ultimately.
Grifols has more than a dozen collection centers in Canada. According to its website, donors could make up to $100 per donation.
There is no incentive for Grifols to deny a donor when they could be making money from selling their plasma.
Hematologist Dr. Ryan Zarachansky says deaths from plasma donations are extremely rare.
Neither myself nor colleagues in Winnipeg have heard of this complication, and so it really does evoke a sense of concern that we'll have to understand.
Manitoba's health minister said the province is not ruling out ending payment for plasma here in Manitoba, but said they are waiting for a review from Health Canada. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Suncor Energy officials in Sarnia reported a spill into the St. Clair River Wednesday night. A public alert went out after a hydrocarbon sheen was observed on the water. Officials say the spill was contained at the source. They also state the spill did not move downstream and municipal water was not affected. Gas prices dropped slightly today following several recent spikes amid the ongoing war in the Middle East. However, the relief is expected to be short-lived. Prices are set to jump up once again overnight. Both the price of regular and premium are expected to go up 6 cents. Regular to $1.56 and premium to $1.86. The cost of diesel is predicted to increase 14 cents to just under $1.99.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
The Windsor Spitfires faced off against the Sarnia Sting in Sarnia tonight.
Easton Wallace. Nesbitt looking to set it up. Quick chance, scores.
The Spitfires, coming off a 4-3 loss on Thursday, were looking to secure the win tonight. 8 minutes left in the third. Beck Sultan Makish grabs hold of the puck and buries it. The Spitfires went on to win 4-3 the final and will be back Sunday night to take on the London Knights. Gary is next with your 7-day forecast.
Lauren, it's been an interesting last 24 hours. It's likely to still be through tonight. Gusty winds, and we're still cold enough that we could see some wet flakes early tomorrow morning, but I think that diminishes just after midnight, say 2, 3 a.m. The winds subside by about 4 or 5 a.m. If you're up that early, you'll notice it. And then we'll see some sunshine, a fair weather day and a high of about +3. The afternoon looks really good. Take advantage because Sunday, although warming considerably, is unsettled. Wet flakes could accumulate and then melt soon thereafter. Monday still warm. Tuesday seasonal, but more flurries possible. And then still cloudy and flurries or a mix, with temperatures getting as low as +1 and as high as 11 between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Warm and cloudy. That is a look at your 7-day forecast. Enjoy your weather, travel safely, have yourselves a good night. Warren, my friend, that's a wrap.
Thanks, Gary. The Oscars countdown is on, and the big award show is already making history with record-breaking nominations and a brand new category. ABC's Melissa Adon now with more on what we can expect from this year's show.
The Dolby Theater transforming.
Here we go.
The red carpet rolled out, ready for the glitz, glamour, and stars for the 98th Academy Awards. Comedian Conan O'Brien is back to host this year's Oscars.
As a fan, as a movie fan, I was really excited to be part of it this year because I watched all these movies without being made to.
The Academy introducing a brand new category, Best Achievement in Casting, the first new category in more than 20 years, which recognizes the people who find your favorite stars.
To get back inside.
Sinners receiving the all-time nomination record at 16.
Everybody put their heart and soul into it. Yes, I wrote the screenplay, yes, I directed it, but they reacted to all of that.
Ryan Coogler's horror thriller up for Best Picture against a strong field of contenders.
Sensei, please.
Including Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. The stars from K-pop Demon Hunters expected to perform their Oscar-nominated original song.
We're basically taking songs from films and we're not just recreating them like the film did. We're creating them as a celebration of the film as a whole.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party? And fans of the 2011 comedy Bridesmaids won't have to hold on much longer to see that hilarious cast back together.
I mean, we probably have a huge reunion happening. There's been rumors of what that is, and we are very excited to announce that we have a Bridesmaid reunion. That is going to be very special.
The producers revealing a lot of surprises there for us, and they've also mentioned there will be reunions, Marvel ones, in fact, so great for superhero fans. Plus, they've hinted at an extraterrestrial that'll be on stage. We are excited to see all of the surprises. Reporting from the red carpet, Melissa Adon, ABC News, Hollywood.
You can catch the Oscars this Sunday on CTV's main network or stream on Crave starting at 6:30. That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a good night.